in that, we get a business associate and we get somebody that had a malicious actor sitting in there monitoring them for months, doing significant malicious activity, and nothing they had picked it up.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a very good indicator that they have very little, if anything, in place to even stop it or pick it up.
Yeah, that's your detection that you're supposed to be doing, and something's not detecting. I can't imagine.
Or the logs are screaming.
And nobody's
the alerts
looking.
are coming in and nobody's looking at them.
Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right.
Today we're going to be diving into Vibecoding, breaches, and regret. And they are all the same yet different. We will explain. We'll explain, but we're going to start out by, first of all, thanking the OCR gods for dropping 4 resolution agreements for us to look at.
4. The excitement never ends.
Yeah, well, as always, we want to dig through these, figure out what happened, probably more likely what didn't happen. Let's learn from this. And it is worth saying from the outset that we're not talking hospital systems this time. We're not talking massive providers, small practices. All 4 of these. They all 4 have some things in common. See if you can pick up on the common thread. All right. Let's go, Donna.
Well, what? You're like, 4? That's just not fair. They did 4 in one day. But
no, I was loving it. I mean, it's like
it was on Friday though. It messes with your Friday. But hopefully, it was an attempt to get people's attention. Maybe, if you do 4 all in one day, it'll get different headlines instead of 4 small ones. I don't know. Anything that'll get people's attention, that's what we're in. We're in the business of trying to get people's attention. How about that? Yes. So that's what they are too. And that's what they were trying to do with this, I think. But 4 ransomware investigations. And, in the beginning when they started the ransomware ones and they'd say, this is our ransomware settlement. Now it's a ransomware SRA settlement. And all of these kind of go around that. It's the resolutions mark 19 completed investigations from ransomware breaches and 13 in our risk analysis initiative.
Yeah, it won't be long before we start seeing the risk management initiative.
Yeah, they're including it in there. They made it clear. We told you about it. So, the fact that this new OCR director has a background in healthcare, in HHS, prior, one of the few that ever has. So she's able to hit the ground running. She's already involved in a lot of things from what you can tell, or what I can tell. I don't know what you see.
Yeah, my crystal ball is blurry.
Are you sure it's the ball?
No, I hadn't had my eyes checked in a while, and it shows.
So we've got our, obligatory quote from the director to tell us what it is they want us to learn. What do they want us to learn, David?
Well, she says hacking and ransomware are the most frequent type of large breach reported to OCR. So to me, that in and of itself should tell you something. Proactively implementing the HIPAA security rule before a breach. What? Before a breach? Oh, before a breach or an OCR investigation not only is the law, but it also is regulated entity's best opportunity to prevent or mitigate the harmful effects of a successful cyber attack.
That would be true. All of
Yeah.
that is true.
Absolutely.
You and I can say that over and over and over. I don't think anybody listens to us either. But anyway.
Well, it's, we tell people all the time. I actually had a conversation earlier today with an MSP. Shout out to Dan. His question was basically, I'm going to talk to this physical therapy client. For some reason, they're all of a sudden interested in security. And, then he starts kind of going down the path of HIPAA. And I was like, dude, leave that off the table. Like, don't talk about HIPAA. Don't talk about security rule. Don't talk about all this right now. You need to understand what is it that's brought this to the surface. Like maybe they had a friend that had a data breach, or maybe who knows? Maybe they have something going on. They just haven't told you yet.
Yeah.
But all this, boils down to the fact that if you're following the HIPAA security rule or HIPAA overall, its main job function is to allow you to put things in place that will protect you and it'll prevent and mitigate these things. It's not just, the government's trying to be in my business and tell me how to run my business. And I mean, yeah, there might be some of that in there depending on how you want to read it, but it is trying to get you to protect your patients. And it's also trying to get you to protect yourself and your business.
Well, I mean, the good news is that the things that are in there are things that are standard, what everyone should do, no matter whether you're being told to or not. There's a few things that require a little bit more oomph in them, but having reasonable assurances in place from your downstream, having your risk analysis done, having some idea of what you're facing and not just throwing security at your network. Buy some security. That's the proper way to do it. It's a formal cybersecurity program. It's not just buying security. Yeah. So the majority of it is that. That's the good news. But yeah, I'm wondering. So usually when you get those calls, that means something's happened to them. Mm-hmm. They don't want to tell you about it yet. And they may not want to tell you about it for a minute while you're talking to them.
That's right.
And then you keep asking questions and you're on to them. Something happened to somebody they know really closely. That scared them. They're looking for investors, and they know the investors want some. They just got their cybersecurity. They've said, "Oh, don't worry, I have insurance," and they just got their application and see what the new ones look like. They're being purchased. That would be another one, or merging.
Yeah, so there's all different things.
Yeah, so that's what brings them to the table. All of a sudden, security matters.
Yeah. But it's also an example of they're asking for something like come in and give us a quote on doing cybersecurity, but they don't have a security risk assessment. They don't have a risk management plan, but they're implementing stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are certain things you can implement with security that's like, I don't really care what you decide on the risk management. You need this regardless. There are those things, but there's a lot of it where it's like, we don't really know what we need to do over here because we need to understand where's the data, where's the risk, where's all these things.
Who has access to it? How's it stored? Who's controlling it? Where's it being backed up? I got so many questions.
Yeah. And now the thing for us is, Johnny just tried to install your favorite AI agent. And, do we allow it or do we block it? Now, our default is we block it until somebody gives us permission, just like we do remote access tools. But when I ask things like, well, what is your AI policy? What?
I have to have a plan?
What? And I have read where some MSPs are trying to use this as an educational process. Like before we allow you to do this, we need you to go through this like 30-minute training on what it means. And I don't know if they're getting any traction on that, but there's a lot to really think through. Like you're going to let somebody install this application or access it online. Do you know what they're going to be feeding it? Do you know what they're trying to do with it? Is it their personal account? Is it a business account? I mean, I've got questions.
See, that's where we always end up. So, and OCR walked into these 4 places and said, I have questions. Well, they didn't walk in.
Yeah.
I have questions. Hopefully they didn't walk in. It's bad if they actually show up. But, and I think, and again, this is why they did merge them together, because they made a point of saying collectively it's over 427,000 individuals. So that tells you it's 4 fairly small ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of them are doing corrective action plans for 2 years. And collectively, it's over $1 million, $1,165,000 they're paying.
Right.
So everybody's paying a share. And it looks like it was distributed very nicely. Kidding. But well, let's just hit on the things on each of them. We have Regional Women's Health Group doing business as Axia Women's Health. Always something. And obviously, they are women's healthcare providers. One would hope that's what they're actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in multiple states. So they had a ransomware attack. 37,989 is what they ended up reporting. And let's see, I'd have to go get, but all of these are 2020, 2021 timeframes. And when they had an unauthorized third party gain access to its IT network and potentially exfiltrated data from the electronic medical record database. So the investigation found they failed to conduct an accurate and thorough risk analysis.
No.
Now, we're going to hear that a few times. And $320,000 was their share of the 1.2 million, let's call it. And then, of course, they have the 2-year cap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've seen those. Then we get the medical imaging and screening service provider. And they're in, that is Assured Imaging in Arizona and California. They had a ransomware attack, 244,813 people. This one goes to May of 2020. And they had a server on its network was infected with ransomware. They got hit like hard, everything encrypted, it looks like. With exfiltration, it sounds like, too. And then they didn't do timely notification. As soon as possible, but no later than 60 days. As soon as possible, but no later than 60 days. So I love the statement on their settlement. Assured has never conducted a compliant security risk analysis.
So that tells me they've done something that was a risk analysis.
They
but
thought it
certainly
was.
not a. Yeah, I have questions.
Uh-huh.
Was it the IT coming in and going, here's a security risk analysis? Because I talk about this all the time. We use the same terminology, means something very different.
Mm-hmm.
We call it a security risk assessment. Healthcare calls it a security risk assessment. They aren't the same thing.
Well, and you also have the gap analysis is what a lot of them are. We've talked about it. When all you're doing is asking if you're doing the HIPAA security rule items, that's not a security risk analysis. That's a gap analysis.
Or my favorite, our EHR vendor does that.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's still a thing.
Yeah, we still hear it. So theirs is $375,000 of the big chunk with the 2-year cap. But then, so we've got 2 different types of providers. And then we get to a third-party administrator of an employee-sponsored benefit program.
Oh, we don't see these much.
Well, all of a sudden, we're going to start seeing them a lot, apparently, because they're back to back here. But often, people forget about these.
Yeah.
And I think apparently they forget that they are supposed to do it as well. based on what we saw on here. This was July 2020, and they had not done a risk analysis, and they were hit with a full on. Here 136,539 individuals. And by the way, this is a business associate. Let's make sure we point that out. Because everybody's like, oh, business associates. No. Yes, business associate. They reported in November and December 2021 that some of the information systems had been encrypted in a ransomware attack. Then they subsequently learned, after a successful phishing attack in July 2020, the threat actor gained access to the server that held the PHI. Yeah. And there was a very specific thing in here that said, so this one is Consociate Inc. Consociate. Like associate, but consociate. I don't know. Consult? I don't know where the name. Consociate Health. Anyway, they subsequently learned the information system had been compromised 6 months earlier with a phishing attack, and the threat actor had since undertaken significant malicious activity against their network environment, culminating in a ransomware attack. So we tell you over and over, they'll get in and sit there for months. And then the ransomware attack is their way out the door.
Yeah.
Perfect example of it right there. Real world, it does happen. We're not making that up. We might make some things up, but that's not it. So in that, we get a business associate and we get somebody that had a malicious actor sitting in there monitoring them for months, doing significant malicious activity, and nothing they had picked it up.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a very good indicator that they have very little, if anything, in place to even stop it or pick it up. Yeah.
That's your detection that you're supposed to be doing, and something's not detecting. I can't imagine.
Or the logs are screaming.
And nobody's
the alerts
looking.
are coming in and nobody's looking at them.
Yep, trouble was cooking and nobody was looking. So that was definitely, you just keep lining them up, and they paid $225,000. Then we have Star Group Health Benefits Plan is a self-funded employee benefits plan of a Connecticut-based energy provider. So basically, it's a big company that has a self-funded plan and they're managing it themselves. They're not outsourcing it to a third party.
Right.
And they forget that they have to do things. So often, apparently, people just forget. And because of this, it makes me wonder, did they get to anything else the energy provider had? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, questions, we have more questions. They reported 9,316 people, so you can see it is the company, and they paid $245,000. They had October 2021, an unauthorized actor deployed ransomware on the system and exfiltrated PHI. They had no risk analysis done. I mean, it's the thing. So, we try to explain what's involved in a risk analysis. And one of the points that was in the statement from the director was, where did it go back? Let me see. Proactively implementing the security rule before a breach or an OCR investigation. So one of the things that we often see is you have this event and you have the investigation, you should immediately be taking action to correct all of this stuff. You should be doing a proper risk analysis many times over. Annually, you should right the ship, so to speak, with your security rule when something like this happens, and you won't end up in this position with OCR. They want to see that you've done a proper one after the breach. You've been proactive and you started taking it seriously and doing what you're supposed to do. And I think that kind of hinted at it. But the number of times that we'll have, well, we're just going to write some policies and procedures. The lawyers will write them policies and procedures, charge them for that. But then I'm like, well, how are you going to write the policies and procedures for, like, security? Well, we're just going to put that. No, I mean, they're not following him then. If you're not, anyway. So who am I to ask? But if you actually write the ship and say, look, we're going to handle this properly from here on out, OCR you will not be on their resolution list. It will just quietly go away. You still have to deal with potential civil lawsuits and stuff and those big ones. But the big scary one everyone wants to scare you with, if you are taking it seriously and saying, we screwed up and we're going to fix it, and it wasn't flagrant, willful neglect, and then it's a little bit easier for you to kind of stay out of this part of the news.
Yeah. Yeah, because even at $245,000, that is a far lesser amount than they could have been hit with.
Yeah. I mean, we've worked with people that were told $250,000, and we're like, okay, have you done all these things? And they're like, we don't understand what to do. We help them do it. They're moving through. They get right the ship, and they have all the stuff, and they're doing regular work. And you know what? That was gone. They don't have to do those things. The $250,000, that is. So it is something that if you show the effort after you have an event, immediately take action and maintain it, they take that into account. Like we've always said, if you show you're doing the things that are in the recognized security practices list, that shows that you've now adopted those things, you're moving forward, you're documenting things, and you can show the details of what you're doing. And you have a real risk analysis. That would be the key. Don't start writing policies. Don't write policies. Do a risk analysis. You can start writing policies at the same time, but you need to do the risk analysis post haste. That would be the first thing. So, anyway, so now those are our breaches, and a lot of regret. A lot of regret in there, I'm sure.
Yep.
If I had to write that check, I'd have a lot of regret.
I know. Well, on the insurance topic, I saw a post the other day that somebody in Congress was trying to pass a bill, I guess, that would make these terrorist groups, make these hacking groups categorized as terrorist. Now, the first thing I thought of is, I don't think he understands the insurance implications of that.
Right.
Because if these hacking groups are categorized as terrorists, no insurance is going to cover it.
Yeah. That's not good.
Now, I'm not an insurance person, so you insurance people chime in, but my insurance policy says there's an exception for nation state attacks and such.
Yeah.
Terrorist activities and such. So I don't see that helping me at all.
It's a big problem, yeah. Because a lot of times they'll name these gangs, the Black Cat or whoever they are, and then they'll decide that they're run by a nation state, and then everybody got attacked by them. Now their insurance is like, well, it's a nation state attack. We don't have to cover it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing to look for whenever you have that mentality that, well, I have insurance. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you should have cyber liability.
1,000%. Yes.
But just understand, it is not covering everything. And even if it's not nation state, your insurance provider, when you have a claim, is going to say, you were doing this and this and this and this, right? They're asking for the same things that we're telling you OCR is asking for.
Yep.
And then you're like, well, no, I don't have that. I don't have A, B, and C, where they're going, oh, well, that's too bad.
Yeah, they'll be like,
Maybe next time.
how are they in there 6 months and you didn't catch them? Because it says here you have a monitoring system and blah. Okay. But we know.
It's, I don't know, man. I'd like to have somebody that is on the insurance side that can talk about how many times they get just crazy stuff like that. But I don't know they can.
No, they can't. We've had John on before, and I could try to get him again. He can only tell us so much.
But speaking about playing on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, we got a couple of things with that, don't we?
Yeah. But first, we have a PSA. So Manus AI, some people familiar with it, some maybe not. But Manus AI made a big splash last year, kind of went away a little bit, unless you're kind of really into the AI stuff. Manus is one of the actually better AI tools as far as how it ranks. And Meta, the Facebook folks, they noticed this was a great tool. We need to buy it up, integrate it into our stuff, and, do what big companies normally do. Why create when you can buy? So they started the process. They started integrating it. I mean, I've seen it doing things, and I even had it pulled up on my screen, and it's one of the 5 different ones I use depending on what it is. And I haven't given it a lot of anything really, but it was one of those things I've been really watching because, it's what I do. Well, today I see an article that China, which is where Manus is, it's a Chinese AI. China has stopped the acquisition by Meta.
Oh.
So for those of you who are using it, or you thought about using it and you did your risk assessment,
You need to rethink that.
It's time to pull it out. Let's run it through its paces again, because it is, for now, going to stay a Chinese AI company. Probably not a good idea to keep using it if you're in healthcare. That would be my recommendation.
And ask your vendors if they're using it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just did that last week,
Yeah. So anyway, just there's your PSA for AI this week. And then we get on to this one disgusts me to the point of I don't even know.
Yeah, we talked about it when they first caught them and announced that they had arrested them. But it makes me angry.
It does. I mean, I am on the cyber defender side of the things. And when you see other people that are doing nefarious things as a cyber defender, it pisses you off, pisses me off. Like, I want to take action. Let me put me in the ring with them. But we have this guy. He's from Florida. I don't have his name right here in front of me, I don't think.
I didn't want to give a name out. I didn't want to give him any.
You didn't want to give him any kudos. All right, so we'll just say this.
I didn't want to make him famous.
This Florida guy, pleads guilty, and he has been basically helping both sides of the fence. So he goes to these people and he's like, "You just got attacked by ransomware, and I'm going to help you negotiate a lower settlement and help negotiate with the criminals, and everything's going to be fine." But then he goes to the criminals and he's like, "Got another one on the hook. Here's their insurance policy. Here's how much they can afford. Here's what you should be asking for." And so the ransomware gangs are giving him a cut of that. And so he's working both sides of it. And I'm not talking about a little bit. I'm talking about a lot of money he is making. And if you thought that was bad, it's even worse that he also found 2 other bubbas, one in Georgia and one in Texas, to help him out, to the point of where they were installing the ransomware on the victims' computers on behalf of the ransomware gangs. Yeah. So 3 different cyber defenders that are installing the ransomware and working on both sides of the fence. I'm sure he's charging the victims, like, this is how much it's going to cost me to get your ransom done and all that. And then the other side, the ransomware gangs are paying him.
Mhm.
And one person got got scammed for $1.2 million. Just one person, $1.2 million.
Yeah. In Bitcoin. So,
Yeah. And then they split it 3 ways, and then they laundered the funds through different means, which, I mean, I don't know.
They just became the criminals. In the, I don't know, one of the announcements of this, they were working with Black Cat, the cyber criminals. This was 2023. And they pointed out just how bad this is. And I thought this statement in the announcement really was telling. But so the Florida man, it's never good when a story starts with Florida man.
Usually ends with alligators, but anyway.
So pled guilty just recently and gets sentenced July 9th. The maximum penalty is 20 years in prison. The other 2, they had already pled guilty. My guess is they were flipping on him because he was the ringleader or got it started. They pled guilty in December, and they're scheduled to be sentenced, and we're recording like a few days beforehand. So we'll have to come back and update the notes if we see what they end up with, but also 20 years. So I hope they get 20 years. I want them to get
25.
Yeah. Give him his,
really, it's like, I don't know. Part of me is like, why can't this be treason? I mean, I know it can't, but it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
To take advantage of people like that. And you're supposed to be the one defending them. And it's a black eye for the whole community. That's probably another reason why it pisses me off so much,
Yeah. And that's what the quote that I was going on was, all 3 men worked in the cybersecurity industry, leveraged their knowledge and skills to commit the crimes.
Yeah. I mean, how do you even go to somebody else like, hey, I've got this business idea.
This is working great for me.
You want to get on it? Yeah. Do you want to get in on it? It takes, there's very little marketing you have to do.
Don't even have to have your own website or anything. Yeah.
No, it's like, anyway, I hope they get the maximum. And if you thought that was bad, I don't know if this is worse or not. But
yeah,
I'm going to read this because this came out of a Facebook post inside of an IT group last week.
Reddit.
Was it Reddit?
Yeah, it was Reddit.
Okay. So the title was, How Do You Deal with Vibecoders? This guy says, I just left a meeting with a small client of ours that wants to drop our EDR, so your extended detection and response, so anti-malware stuff, and drop our backup because his son is a vibecoder and he has been seeing TikToks on how to vibecode his own antivirus and other apps. His intention is to completely replace most of our services by the end of 2026. He does, however, want to be able to call us if there's any other issues like hardware or stuff that AI cannot replace yet. I tried explaining that it's a slippery slope when you decide to step away from products that are tried and true and jump to stuff in which you don't know if it actually does anything. But in all honesty, I do not mind losing this client at all. Yeah. I had a really hard time not laughing in his face after his son showed me the TikTok of the guy that vibe coded his own AV. Look at it. It says it scanned all the files on his computer. He obviously could not answer anything about how or what the AV actually did, or it's run by AI. I explained that if he wants to go this route, it's absolutely up to him, but we won't be along for the journey. He was going to think about it, but he ended the meeting with, I just feel companies like yours needs to understand you are already replaced. I mean, so there's so many ways to go with this. First of all, I would probably have fired the client on the spot because you obviously don't get it, and I don't have time to explain it to you.
Yeah.
But we are going to be up against this more and more because people don't know what they don't know, and they ignore things that you and I think are obvious. Like, you can't vibe code your own AV product right now that's going to compete with the same thing that I'm selling you. It's just not going to happen.
Well, do a quick explainer of vibe code on there for those who don't know vibe code.
So vibe coding is basically using text to explain to AI what kind of product that you want and what you want it to do. So you don't have to know how to code. You just have to give it, quote unquote, the vibe of what you want, and it'll code it for you.
It'll figure it out.
That's what a vibe coder is. Yep.
So it figured out that the guy on TikTok wanted it to say that it scanned all the files. So it said, I scanned all the files. Whether it did or not, irrelevant. It figured out that's what they wanted to see.
Yeah. I mean, scan for what? Like, what scanning engine are you using and all that? Because all these things are proprietary. So I don't know. Well,
how you doing? Yep. And you can, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm not on TikTok, so I haven't seen it.
Nope.
I wouldn't try it.
Nope.
If you want to do it in your home, that would be my recommendation to this guy. Like, if you want to do this at home, do it at home. But you really want to trust your business and your livelihood to TikTok
and AI. What AI is it being written with? Manus? You know, I mean, we just you have no idea what's happening behind the scenes in this stuff. And okay, maybe, you know, if you're like you and I, and we decide to do it, we're going to do all of that analysis. We're going to look at what's happening behind the scenes. Where are the potential security issues? Where's my data going? What's happening when it finds something? How's it doing? We're going to know all of that. But this kid just got it off of TikTok. Look, it does it.
Yeah. Look, Dad, I can save you X number of dollars a month.
Yeah.
And his last thing, companies like yours need to understand you're already replaced. Like, that's a dangerous way to think about AI.
Horrible.
You know, you've got one side of the spectrum that's like, hey, I'm not going to touch AI anywhere for anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spiritual conversation for you because it's going to end the world. And then you got the other side. It's like, AI can do everything and I'm fully embracing it and it can have my next baby. I don't care. I will sacrifice it to the AI gods. And it's just, oh my gosh, man, it's dangerous. People like this are dangerous.
We started this talking about having questions. And we don't even have questions. We just say no. I don't need to ask questions. Not of this. If you've got, look, I show you the guy on TikTok, we can do this ourselves. There's no sense in asking questions. You're right. Just walk away. Just walk away.
Yeah. I just hope this is not a doctor. Man.
I think there's a lot, you know, I'm not anti-AI. In fact, you and I embrace it. We love it. We're trying all kinds of things with it. You know, we have AI help us figure out all kinds of things for the podcast and evaluate everything. You know, when you're trying to figure something out, it's great. It saves a ton of time. But, you know, before we started recording, you and I were both laughing about having an argument with AI because it was wrong.
Well, I told somebody this about AI the other day because they were like, AI makes me so much faster and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, here's the thing about speed.
Mm-hmm.
Speed, it absolutely will get you to the finish line faster. It'll also kill you faster if you don't have guardrails in place. The only reason any race car, Indy race cars, stock cars, whatever, the only reason they can go as fast as they go is because there are guide rails, there's walls, there's things that keeps them safe. Like the track is built in a way that keeps them safer. Well, we're currently building these tracks for AI. We're not there yet. And then people are driving them as fast and hard as they possibly can. What do you think is going to happen when the guardrail isn't around the edge of the mountain yet?
It just go flying off. Thelma and
You're
Louise.
going to careening off the side of it, and then you're going to look back and you're going to blame IT for not telling you that there was no guardrail there.
But it is terrifying how much people think. Yes, I believe AI is going to be able to do amazing things for us. Big fan of it.
Yeah.
But I also believe that just like any other technology we've brought into play, it has to have a human in the loop that understands the loop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't let yourself become stupid about it. I got to tell it where I want it to look and what I want it to look for. And then if you find something that you think is relevant that I didn't mention, bring that to me and let's, evaluate it. That's the way you have to do these things. And, someday it may get better. But, there are times where you can only do so much before things go horribly awry. That's with humans as well as computers.
Yep.
And who knows what's next? Who knows what AI is going to tell us about itself?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when they asked Claude if Claude knew about itself, it wasn't sure yet. How much?
I like to tell people that the AI is going to be able to do amazing things beyond what we can understand today.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure a few people will die along the way.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, they're going to make, we have patient safety issues, but, you're talking about people doing stupid stuff with, hey, y'all hold my beer kind of stuff with AI.
Yeah.
Not patient safety things, which we know we need to worry about. But people deciding, well, I'm just going to let it, tell me how to build stuff that won't blow up. It's I don't know. It's terrifying that people will be irresponsible in their use of these tools. But people are irresponsible in their use of a car. They're irresponsible in their use of ice cream. It doesn't matter. But for us, what we can say is if somebody suggests that you're going to just get the Vibecoding off of TikTok and be excited because it tells you it didn't find any problems, because it knows that's what you want it to say. And it's trying to please you. Just say no. Just say no. Please.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the next wave of a lot of these applications will be, call it BYOS, like bring your own software, bring your own applications.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are going to build their stuff. Look, I've done it. Like I've built applications that I needed for one-time use or whatever. Like I vibe coded and stuff. I do it, but I'm not doing it to this level of insanity. Like I'm not trying to do things that could be harmful. Like if this security tool doesn't work, that certainly wouldn't do it in my business. But that's where you just, there's got to be some level of.
And what about the backup? Saying he doesn't need the backup because AI is going to replace it.
Well, that's another thing too, is with everybody connecting AI to all these apps, I've yet to hear anybody really pound the fact that if you're going to connect it to QuickBooks, you better have a QuickBooks backup. If you're going to connect it to Google Drive, you better have a Google Drive backup. You're going to connect to OneDrive, you better have OneDrive backup. You're going to connect to email, you better have email backup. Like all these things can go horribly awry.
Mm-hmm.
You better have all this stuff backed up.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it does something dumb, and it's probably going to do it because you told it to.
Yeah.
Like, hey, clean up my inbox. Well, it might decide to clean it up.
Well, that's like the guy who said he put in there, don't delete anything without my approval, and it was deleting like crazy because it figured it had his approval because of something else that was said. Well,
oftentimes things pop up on your, like I know when I'm doing things like in Claude, it'll pop up and it'll say, allow. And it could be allow for this session, or it could be always allow. Mm-hmm. And if you're just clicking next, you're not really reading it.
Yep.
You've just allowed it. Maybe you allowed it for that session. Maybe you allowed it for everything all the time. Maybe 10 sessions ago, you did something where it was like, oh, it's cool to do this. Boom. But now it's not something you want to happen, but you've already pre-approved it.
Yeah. And you don't even know it. You don't even know it. Or you forget it. You know,
yeah.
Because you turned your head 3 times and it's like an Etch-a-Sketch. That's what happens to me.
But given AI these global, you never have to ask me again, you're approved to do it. You got to think through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well,
anyway,
we've made everybody happy enough for today.
All right. So there you go. There's our vibe coding breaches and, some regrets that are now and some regrets will be in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So thanks and join us again next week. And remember, for Donna and myself, the HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.